Greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for listening live or tuning in into the replay. Always appreciate you all everywhere where you're listening to from around the world. We got a bunch of inquiries with the Trustee Training being available and to individuals and families and trustees. So really excited. We got a ton of inquiries from all over the world and really excited about that. So just really thankful that we have the opportunity to do an episode today, which is going to be episode 107, and it's going to be talking about 1040 W2 versus 104198 number or 98 number. I'm really excited to bring this topic to you all today because a lot of individuals contact the vault saying they have a 98 number. The vault's heard this for years, where individuals stated, "Oh, I have a 98 number. I have a 98 number," which is an EIN number. So this kind of caveats off the episode 10. I think it's episode 7, which is dealing with episode 7 or episode 6, which is dealing with business EIN versus W2 Social Security. So really excited about this episode. I'm going to start out as we always do with current events. Really excited about everyone joining us live. So let's start out with shadow banking is now $52 trillion industry. The big banks are basically saying that the black market, the shadow banking term is being used, that there are cryptocurrencies, unregulated industries that are siphoning equity or money, and they're not going towards bonds, hedge funds, money markets, mixed funds, things like that, and they are a private market, non-bank mortgage lending, student lending, leverage lending, and they're talking about some other ones that they're not excited about in the sector of what's considered to be private banking. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm definitely going to do an episode at the vault about Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, making $81,000 last year, and he's still the richest man in the world. So you all are going to hear how the so-called richest man in the world has made $81,000 salary for 2 decades. The salary, but he has stock options. So you're going to get a chance to hear a lot further into that. Here's some more great news. Harvard bought cryptocurrency. So as you all are familiar, that Harvard has an endowment fund. This fund is utilized to grow assets, sustain assets such as school buildings, maintain anything. And so whatever Harvard has under its control, the endowment fund is to is to maintain those assets. Well, guess what? Harvard has bought cryptocurrency, and they're looking to say it's a big deal. When I talked to a partner about that, trustee said they've been buying it for a long time now. So as you all can Google, you all can Google that if you like, and you can see the article come up, which is Harvard bought cryptocurrency. Rather important if you're into how do we say this? Rather important to know that such a large institution, why would it be putting its assets at risk, capital at risk, in a market such as that, and it's publicly disclosed. Of course, if you make a faux pas or a mistake, you don't want those things to be discussed in the public, but for it to publicly be okay with it disclosing the fact that it's invested in that market, it shows that that's people that are considered to be very, very great asset managers. Particularly Harvard's endowment fund, they have one of the largest, or if not the largest, endowment fund per college in the United States, and they're particularly investing in once again cryptocurrency, not just maybe Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency. So this is an interesting article. Definitely encourage you all to read this article, and then feel free to contact back at the vault. It says a hedge fund is slammed over 6.8 billion in unpaid taxes, and the IRS seeks to deal with it. Renaissance Technologies, you all can look that up, is in a dispute with over billions in unpaid taxes. The thing about how do you get the 6 billion? It was over a 15-year period that they did a Senate committee on this company, but you all can see Renaissance. What is the name of this again? Company. Renaissance Technologies, once again, is the hedge fund. And so you all can see the estimated. This is an interesting article, to say the least, particularly about how there was unpaid taxes via that entity up until the billions. So it lets you know you can get that far. Institutions increased Bitcoin longs. We saw that this past week. Oh, here's a very, very good piece of information. Ray Dalio, one of the largest hedge fund uh, investors, said that, and hopefully this is misquoted, which he says that capitalism is for cowards. He doesn't believe that capitalism works. This guy is a billionaire, ladies and gentlemen. So for somebody to say that it doesn't work and it needs to be reformed, he actually published an essay, a very long essay, why and how capitalism needs to be reformed. So this is somebody that's already made it, telling you all it needs to be changed. Even him putting that to directly to the vault, we can see that this is someone in front of you all that is looking to kick the ladder from behind them. That means you're not going to climb up to be wealthy. There is no opportunity now, because the same opportunity that enabled this individual to get to the level that they're at, they want to change it. Not for themselves, but for everyone else. So you all can look up that article. That was an interesting one, to say the least. And so JP Morgan is hiring more blockchain jobs than any other Wall Street firm. So you all can see that the technology is being invested in by the big banks, the blockchain technology. So very, very important. You all can Google that one. They have layoffs going on. There we go. Ledger Trust Company. What is this? Okay, Ledger Trust Company, Legacy Trust, to offer crypto custody for institutional investors. I definitely thought this was going to be a good article. Really just talking about how banks are now putting themselves in a position where they are becoming at least custodians of these securities, such as cryptocurrencies. They haven't deemed them specifically as what do you call them, securities, because then they would be regulated by the Security Exchange Commission. So we had a really good article talking about how it's in an unregulated environment, which is very, very taboo from the way it sounds. Fidelity is investing in that environment, ladies and gentlemen. That is one of the largest investment holding institutions in the world. So for them to be investing in the technology, the early players, what they're called early adopters, once they hit critical mass and an S curve, they've already been in and they're going to take excess profits. It's sort of like getting in with an investment, and the investment, we'll say we're going to talk about IPO, ladies and gentlemen, and ICO with the coins, but general initial public offering or initial coin offering. So let's just say the founders or the investors, the original investors, the A-class investors in this particular case, because it's different classes of investments, they get in and they're getting it for 14 cents. They're getting the stock for 14 cents, so they get an initial coin offering for 14 cents. But when they do the initial public offering or initial coin offering, the asset is immediately being sold at let's just say 98 cents. $1.20, and then it goes up from there. And that's the Facebook mimic that. It started out in dollars and it went into double-digit dollars, and they're up there now. And so the initial public offering is very, very important, because there's investors previous to initial public offering. That's keyword, public offering. So very, very important to understand it, that when we say the early adopters, they're truly being an early adopter. So very excited about just being aware of being an early adopter as far as a trustee and otherwise. So really excited. We're going to go over 1040 W2 versus 1041 98 number. Powerful episode, because both of those forms were created per these documents were created the same year, 1913. So they're both tax forms. One is filled out by an individual taxpayer. That's a W-2. W-2s are individual taxpayers. You can look that word up. That is an actual term, and that is what the term is. And then you have a 1041, which is a trust and estates tax form. And so, really excited to share the fact that one is a position of own nothing, control everything, 1041. The other one is own everything. See the difference? You have to make a decision now with your life. That is the decision. It is a common practice and all but true practice in certain circles and in certain environments with 1041. 1040, public, masses, individuals that are doing business that way. We could easily do an episode about 1120, which is corporate tax forms. Making sure that you're abreast of those things, know how to talk and deal with your lawyer with those things. Ladies and gentlemen, when you deal with the tax forms, aren't you responsible for them? Dealing with so many individuals that walk into business on the 1041 side, because trust is business and estate is business, family business, estate is family business. So then you have 1040, which is personal. And so either form is responsible in the capacity that you're the fiduciary, that you're responsible. So this is such a great thing when we live in an age where public regulation is still there to say, read this document for all of us to see the publication, to possibly object, but at least to have a mutual consensus of how to do business in a particular environment, such as the public, where we're dealing with multiple parties. And so the 1040 and 1041, when we talk about you being a fiduciary, can we say that you are an investor? Aren't you investing your time and money when you go to school? Aren't you investing your time and money when you start a business? Aren't you investing time and money inside of a job? In a job, 1040, aren't you paying for the gas? Aren't you paying for the additional education? So putting your position of own nothing, control everything truly says, I'm different. I'm private. I'm not public. But puts a person in a position. A person is also a corporation, S corp or C corp, or a trust, a person. So when they look at an individual and they say, okay, they're an investor. Even on the public side, the 1040, does the 1040 get deductions for investing in education? Does it get deductions? Ask your tax attorney. Does it get deductions for its dependents' education? These are questions to ask your so-called tax attorney. Why? Because if you're in a position of an investor, shouldn't you read the Prudent Investor Act? A public document. It's an act for people that are looking to be at a level of investor and to know how to conduct themselves. Prudent Investor Act. Very important document. As a trustee, very important to know. So, private trusteeship is all about knowing public versus private. In the public, trusteeship is still there. It's a fiduciary. The individual taxpayer has to take their tax returns if they make money in a particular year. They, social, because they know how to administer the document, the entity. A lot of individuals contact the vote and say, it's a thing called a Sesta K trust, Sesta K V trust. A lot of individuals, even international, there's a Sesta K V trust. Says to give e-trust. This is the trust that was set up by the government without my permission, and yada yada yada. Okay, they're saying all of these things. These are the individuals that are contacted the vault and asked these questions. Okay, the so-called basically what they're talking about, Social Security. They talk about Social Security Administration trust being set up, and that is the entity that is uh, taking capital immediately away from that position and quote unquote preparing for a retirement program. They stated that it is a trust, the Social Security Administration trust, and things of that nature. So individuals see that there's some form of uh, entity or asset holding. They know that at one point they're going to be paid back the money. People think this in the public, that they're going to get paid back money from Social Security and things of that nature. Very, very important. That's why they're participating in the 1040 system. A lot of people say they're out here looking to get security. That's what the population has been looking to get for years now. Is security after 1933 and the what was that? The Great Depression. People are looking for security. They're looking for job benefits, looking for a job with great benefits that's going to provide not only a retirement but also health benefits. So health benefits are a big thing when you see a lot of people that are in the public that are out looking to get a job, 1040 position, public position, W2 position. They're looking for those particular attributes and it's more attractive. Whereas 1040, this is the mindset of 1040. 1040 says legacy. It says trust and estate tax form. They're thinking legacy. They're thinking I want to pass something along to my kids. It's not an option. It is what it is. It's 1040 fiduciary mindset. Particularly in a private capacity, traditionally more families are in the private, whereas in the public you have mutual funds, you have pensions, you have a lot of banks. Banks are set up in that position. Banks are set up in that position because it's a contract, trust or a contract. So you see that's why you see a lot of banks called bank and trust. So that's the fiduciary mindset. That is for the benefit of the beneficiaries. The banks are holding quote unquote individuals' monies, and guess what? They're getting insurance from the government. So since they're getting insurance from the government, they're now able to lend out money, and you all can read Modern Money Mechanics. We'll put that in the post 2 as well. So you all can read that. And these are public documentations that you all can read and get a better understanding of what is it that you're doing in the public. Ladies and gentlemen, in a business environment, how do you have time to watch TV instead of knowing your proper position as a business fiduciary, whether you're the owner of a business, whether you're even working a job? Don't you have to know how to operate your life correctly? And so even if a position of W2 1040 position of still being able to have your wherewithal senses to be able to operate in a majority manner meaning that you are of age, that you are aware of business and dealings, uh, whether that's accounting, whether that's uh, competition, free market, knowing the jurisdiction that you're in. Those are things that are always called upon from the 1041 position, just because of the trustee position, beneficiary position, and 1040. Think about it. That's the same. Well, it's not exactly the same position, but the position of the government giving you Social Security. But it was really weird because how are they giving you something you didn't already give them? So, you give the gov something to hold and then they give it back to you. And who knows if there was even an interest made off of that money being held by the gov at some public bank. Who's holding the money? The treasurer? You all can look up who's holding the money. And that's very, very important in that particular case. And see, what's interesting is even in the 1040 case, the beneficiary sometime in many cases may not know what is being done with the money, how they're receiving money, when they're receiving money, how much money is going to be received, how long money is going to be received, and when the money is going to be received. How they don't know that they're in a position of beneficiary. Not in all cases are beneficiaries privy to uh, challenge things, and of course the beneficiary is able to challenge things, but there are times where many times, and specifically sophisticated trustees, they're always going to be in a position of the trust may not have to disclose that to you, to the beneficiary, and the beneficiary is just receiving whatever the beneficiary receives. So, and that's the same. Doesn't that sound like Social Security? You don't. They've changed the age on when it can be received. There's penalties if you do receive it too early. If you want to take part of it early, then there's penalties on if you wait too long. There's actually penalties if you let it just keep building up. Social Security, ladies and gentlemen, it's interesting. You have to really look into those details. And so it's just encouraged reading. If you want to know more details about these two forms, read the instructions about the forms. Take them to a tax attorney and say, how can I live my life in either position? One's own nothing, control everything. The other is own everything. Private trustee training has begun. Enrollment is now. Christian@trustchristian.com. Looking forward to hearing from you. Once again, that's Christian@trustchristian.com. Look forward to you guys going forward in trustee training. Feel free to reach out to us. It has begun, and it's going to be a 12-week course. A lot of people always ask, well, how long is it going to be? So just to give out a actual time frame on this particular course, it's going to be a 12-week course, and it's going to be getting going here in the next week. And so we're already have enrollment going on, and we're just moving forward with the trustees that are looking to move forward through this training period. So really excited. I see that we have quite a few people live on the chat. Aubrey, Charles, Lavelle, Cassandra, Dwayne. Appreciate you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. Charles, Bo, Olga. Appreciate you all. If you all want to reach out to us, Trustee Training, Christian at Trust Christian. If there's any questions, feel free to type them in when it comes to the 1040, 1041. This is a favorite subject because it's a clear distinguishment between public and private. One's taught, go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and then you're stuck in that form. You're stuck in that instruction form in most people's life. And then what happens if you ever were to move to a different position? You know, they say, how is money made? It's either 1040 or 1041. Why? Or even 1120. Different forms. Why? The different forms deal with the different liabilities, but there's different forms for different entities, ladies and gentlemen. And so when you look, you think about it, even as a beneficiary, you're still going to have to fill out something as a beneficiary if someone's receiving something. And so it's just very interesting to see the market and the education that can be provided to understanding, hey, you know, I need to look into entities in general and learn about the positions. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, you hire the tax attorney, you hire the lawyer, you hire the accountant. And so it's very, very important to understand, well, if you're hiring these positions, to have a cursory overview knowledge base of what you're really hiring them for, their capacities and things that they are looking to implement and hold together for the actual environment that you're looking to create. They're a team member. They're not the all and be all, and particularly you don't want to always run at them when there's bad trouble in the water, or blood in the water, as they say. So thank you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. Don't see any questions in the chat, feel free to email us, Christian@trustchristian. Thanks, Ernest, for tuning in live. We appreciate you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. Feel free to reach out, and talk to you soon.